Hello, I'm Ollie and this is Criminally, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today, crime, I've got two equally enjoyable but very different British crime books for you. So yeah, two British crime books for you today. One a thriller, one a mystery. Um, Both really, really fun and both independently published. And I was reflecting on that when I was preparing for this video, that I get approached all the time by authors and publishers offering me independently published horror books to read. So either self-published or like small press horror. It's very rare for me to get offered crime. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if there is less independently published crime fiction out there. It feels like there probably is. It feels like indie horror is going through a bit of a boom time at the moment, and there is just a ton of good, really good at times, indie horror out there. Whereas independently published crime fiction seems much less common. And I don't know if that's because crime fiction generally is doing really well at the moment, so maybe authors are finding it more easy to get traditionally published, or maybe it's just something that, maybe there's just something about horror fans that means they want to try their hand at writing. I'm not sure, but anyway, let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know if you're aware of independently published crime fiction out there that I might not have come across, because I'm interested to sample more of it. I always enjoy reading books by indie authors because you are reading stuff that's a bit less filtered. I find that anything that's published by big publishing houses, unless it's a really, really big author who has kind of over the years earned the right from the publisher to have more editorial control over their books, I find that the voice of the editors from the publishing houses seems to creep into books a lot, and you tend to get books that are very similar in tone and kind of subject matter and things like that. You get, particularly in crime fiction at the moment in the UK, you're getting the same kind of thing published again and again and again by the publishers, because they know it sells. So reading indie stuff is always interesting because you're getting different stuff. You're getting stuff that the big publishing houses maybe aren't interested in. They don't see a market for it at the moment. But that can often be really, really fun. And that was certainly the case with these two books. So let me talk about both of them. Both of these would be good picks for March Mystery Madness, for the 999 prompt where you read a British mystery. This one, which is a Sherlock Holmes pastiche, definitely more of a mystery, but this is a thriller really, but you could count this as a mystery too. So let me start with the Holmes then. So this is The Lost Case Files of Sherlock Holmes by Alex Pryor. So this has got 6 Holmes short stories, very much in the kind of traditional Conan Doyle style of things. So set in Victorian times, and written in that same kind of style as the original Sherlock Holmes stories. So you do see quite a lot of Holmes pastiche stories that play around a bit, that you maybe relocate Holmes to a different place or a different time, or throw in kind of more horror elements and things like that in particular. This is pretty traditional stuff, but no less enjoyable for that. Really, really fun stories. So there are 6 stories in here, some of which have great titles, like The Strange Case of the Fountain of Blood, and The Adventure of the Creature in Stone. So there's some really interesting and enjoyable cases in here. They vary in length. So 6 stories, 4 of them are pretty short, kind of 10 to 15 pages, maybe up to 20 pages, that sort of length. Some of them are, 2 of them are a bit longer, so kind of 40, 50 pages. But they're all really fun, and they've all got that classic Holmes feel to them. So Alex Pryor is clearly a fan of Conan Doyle and does a really good job of giving you the kind of vibe of a traditional Sherlock Holmes story. I really enjoyed all of these. I think my favourite was probably The Curse of the Purser's Mate, which is one set like a murder mystery set on a British warship, where one of the crew members has died mysteriously. So that was a really, really fun one. And one of the things that Alex Pryor does quite well with these, he does it with that one, he does it with one of the other stories as well, is place them in time. So they are set in the Victorian era, but have kind of foreshadowing of events that we, with the benefit of hindsight, know will happen globally thereafter. So that was definitely one. The Case of the Ancient Artifact was a really fun one as well. So this is one about some artifacts that have gone missing from the British Museum, and it had I thought an interesting kind of modern twist, or at least it tells its story with a modern eye. So there have been very recently over here in the UK at least that argument discussion about the Parthenon marbles has come up again. So these were, if you don't know, and if you're outside the UK or Greece, you maybe don't. So some like engravings. I don't know if that's the right word. Carvings from the Parthenon that were basically stolen from Greece by an English guy in the Victorian age and brought back to the UK. And there's been a dispute for many decades between England and Greece about the ownership of those artifacts. So this case is kind of similar to that, in that there's an artifact that has been taken by a British explorer from another country and housed in the British Museum, and has subsequently been stolen. And as I say, there's a nicely modern twist to that story. So I really enjoyed all 6 of these stories. If you're a Holmes fan, I definitely recommend them. And yeah, a really good fit for March Mystery Madness. I don't know, I'm just trying to think if this would fit any of the other prompts. I think it probably only fits the British Mystery prompt. But yeah, very, very, very enjoyable. The other book then I want to talk about is Enemies Closer by Tom Batt. So I read another book by Tom Batt a year or so ago called Street Siren, which again I really, really enjoyed. And that had a very similar vibe to this. So a kind of gritty, very British feeling, very London feeling thriller. Street Siren was about a young woman investigating the murder of I think it was her girlfriend in a snuff movie. So like really grim and gritty. This one is about two guys competing with each other. One is a bank robber and one is a cop who's trying to catch him. So it's got that kind of classic cat and mouse vibe to it, and is really gripping, really enjoyable. Loads of twists to the plot. The writing in this one can be a little bit rough around the edges at times, but the characters are gripping, and the story is really, really good. So there's some really good action sequences, particularly at the beginning where you kind of see this bank robbery, and the rivalry between these two characters is really well captured. I really enjoyed them kind of sparring off each other, and the plot goes through multiple twists as it progresses, but in an enjoyable way. I find sometimes mystery plots that have loads of twists can be a bit annoying because those twists rely on things having been slightly obscured in the past. So if you see what I mean, as the writer lays out their story, they deliberately throw in red herrings, and they maybe slightly misrepresent events in order to allow them to build twists in a mystery. In a thriller like this, you don't have to do that. It's purely about the characters making different decisions as the plot progresses, and those decisions taking them in different directions and increasingly into more and more dangerous situations. So that definitely happens in this, and it's a really gripping and enjoyable story as a result. So yeah, as I say, sometimes a bit rough around the edges prose-wise, as Street Siren was as well, but both of them are just fun, enjoyable thrillers. And they both have that kind of vibe of the kind of classic British paperbacks of like the late 70s and early 80s, when people like publishers like New English Library were just churning out loads and loads of these slightly grimy, slightly gritty kind of sex and violence kind of themed thrillers. This definitely has that vibe. It's fast paced, it's gritty, it has kind of enjoyable characters. It felt to me like a throwback to that era, and maybe that's why this is the kind of thing that doesn't get published so much by big publishers nowadays, because they see it as from the past. But I really enjoy that, and it had despite being set in the modern day, it had kind of quite a nice nostalgic feel to it, as indeed obviously did the Sherlock Holmes one, being set in Victorian times. So yes, two very different but equally enjoyable British crime books for you today. One a novel, short novel, one a collection of short stories, both definitely worth your time. I really enjoy reading this kind of indie stuff, and as I said at the start, I'm intrigued to find if there's more indie crime out there for me to try. So yeah, definitely recommend these if you like the sound of them. I will leave links to both of them. I think they're both just available on Amazon, so I'll leave links to both of them on Amazon in the description for the video. Not affiliated in any way, but you can check them out there should you want to. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that, and as always, thanks very much for watching. Hope you're safe and well out there. Hope you're reading good stuff, and I'll speak to you again very soon. Cheerio.